2 weeks ago, the board awarded, I believe, 9 engineering contracts to 7 different firms for various projects across the county. And I was asked to bring those firms before the board so that they could present themselves as well as their take on how they were going to tackle their projects. So behind me, you have a group of ladies and gentlemen that are going to come up before you and present to you each of their projects. But before I do that, I've been asked to allow Neil Schaefer to come up and give a brief presentation on Bozeman 2. So Stan's going to come up real quick and give a very brief presentation on where they are with Bozeman 2 before we get started on that.
Tim, before you sit down, you know, these firms all do terrific job. The question I have is there any type of metrics put in place to speed it up, to get it done a little bit quicker than we have in the past? Are we going to have, you know, I'm not familiar with professional services of this type as far as how we could expedite these projects, because a lot of these roads are over capacity and people are struggling to commute to work and school in the mornings and evenings. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, several of these roads are not going to have federal money associated with them, and that aspect right there will help us speed up the projects tremendously. The lack of federal funds cuts down the time that it takes to do a project tremendously. So with us putting out the bonds that we're doing with the county, that will cut down the process tremendously. But I'm going to let each one of the firms, I'm going to let you ask that to each one of them and let them tell you how they're going to speed up the projects.
Okay.
That's part of the reason they're coming before you today.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Stan? Keith?
Sir. Board, good morning.
Morning.
Stan Wright with Neil Schaefer. Just going to give you a quick update on Bozeman Road. As far as Phase 1 goes, MDOT Commission has voted to approve the concurrence of the project, so that's a big step. We are now in the process, the contractor has submitted their stormwater pollution plan. That's a big project this size. It's a big review. MDOT and DEQ are in the process of reviewing that. Hopefully we'll have that in the next 45 days, and once we have that, we can get a notice to proceed and break ground.
When do you, I'm not going to hold you to it, but when can the public expect to see disruption in their traffic patterns because y'all got trucks?
That's a good question. We'll like I said, the notice to proceed will probably be early part of November, based on where we are. We're going to meet with the contractor, get their game plan, get an idea of what impacts we're going to have, and we're going to have a communication plan that we're going to provide the county, and let y'all disperse it to the public, and we'll just keep the public informed as best as possible.
So so early November is the earliest y'all could break ground. Is this something that y'all can do over the winter? I know road paving usually stops around Thanksgiving due to temperature, because the hot mix and cold weather just don't mix. Is this something y'all are going to be able to do so that y'all can, or is it going to be something that's going to start later because of the weather?
Well, they can do some work during the wintertime. It's selective. There'll be a lot of clearing that they're going to have to do, things of that nature.
Okay.
So there'll be some work that they can, and if you get lucky and you get a good December and January, which we've had in the past few years, they can make hay because they don't get charged as much time. This is a working day contract. So, and we know the contractor is really anticipating getting started. So, we should be able to hopefully make some progress during the winter months.
Good deal.
As far as Phase 2 goes, we're in the right-of-way phase. The homeowners, the property owners, I should say, should be getting contacted this week. Hopefully that'll go smooth. This is about 16 parcels that we'll have to purchase right-of-way from, and as opposed to 56 parcels on Phase 1, it should hopefully it'll go a lot smoother. And then as soon as we get that done, we've already contacted the utility companies, or most of them, that we know have impacts, and they'll be able to follow up just day one after the right-of-way is purchased, and maybe even some if we can phase it, we're going to try to do that to get the utilities relocated as fast as possible. And then we'll be ready to go to construction for Phase 2.
Okay, good deal. Sound like everything's moving.
It is. We're excited.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for the
You're
update.
going to introduce that gentleman behind you, Stan?
Yeah. I think we all know him, but come on up, Keith, and just
Good morning. I'm Keith
morning.
O'Keefe with Neil Schaefer. It's good to see y'all. Yeah.
Thank
I don't
you.
know
Good
if
to have
Tim
you.
wants us to go next or if you.
No, we're going to go in order on the sheet.
Yeah. You'll be back up.
We're going to go in order of the sheet. The first group that we're going to invite up is Garver. They've got Stribling Road from 463 to DeWeese.
And one thing while they're coming up, as it already been mentioned, these roads are a priority to the board. And that's the reason we asked each one to come up and present to us, a plan, how you gonna do that. So, come up and just tell us what you'd like for the board to know.
Will do. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Shannon Wells, and I'm joined by Christina Kemp on the second row behind me. And as mentioned, I work for Garver, and we were selected by the board to assist the county in engineering design of the Stribling Road widening project from Highway 463 to DeWeese Road, an opportunity that we're very excited about and grateful for. We work together out of our Ridgeland office on Highland Colony Parkway. I myself will be the primary point of contact for Tim on a daily basis. Christina will be heavily involved, so it'll be a tag team situation, but I'll be the primary point of contact. On a personal level, when we were selected for this job, this instantly became my favorite project. My neighborhood is connected to this job. I could walk to this project in 10 minutes. Myself, my family, my neighbors have all personally felt the need for this project from the standpoint of being a citizen. As our community has grown, there's a lot more traffic volume has been generated, and we need it, and the board is to be commended for putting this on the table. But on the engineering side, I'm especially excited to be a hands-on contributor, and I intend to take full ownership of the project and make it my highest priority. For those listening online or in the room that aren't as familiar with this part of the county, between 463 and Stribling Road, 463 and DeWeese Road is about a 2-mile segment. It is a 2-lane, 2-way road that is adjoined by neighborhoods pretty much all the way through that generate approximately 5,000 to 6,000 cars per day. So it's a continuous flow of traffic, particularly if you leave at 7:15, 7:30 in the morning. I don't know if you have a handout. Yeah, I see Carl holding it. On the back side is a project schedule that we included in our initial proposal for the project, and it's actually at the top. It really should say Schedule 2 construction. That's really not a construction schedule. That's what we feel once given the notice to proceed, how long it will take to go to construction, and we're estimating that to be 2 years, 9 months. So a little bit less than 3 years is where we're at now, meaning within a month, if we were turned loose, about mid-2027-ish would be when the project would be breaking ground for construction. For reference purposes, my project will be affected by the Signal project at 463 and Stribling Road, commonly known as the Green T. Through my sources, barring unforeseen circumstances, it's scheduled, they're looking at mid-2026, which is about a year ahead of this project according to that schedule, which on paper would work out pretty good. Two factors I see as major impacts to the schedule are the relocation of utilities and right-of-way acquisition. We'll start with utilities. As some of you are aware, Energy a couple of months ago replaced their poles along Stribling Road with pretty much placed them in the original locations with larger poles. It appears to me they're going to be within the construction limits of a 4 or 5 lane road and have to be relocated. In addition, 2 water and sewer companies have certificated areas through this segment of the project. Bear Creek is particularly on both sides of the road, the south side completely and the north side through half or more of it. And the preliminary feedback I've been given is they have water and sewer on one or both sides of the road, and it's probably best to anticipate impacts to those as well. And Canton Utilities has the Lake Caroline portion between DeWeese and McMillan on the north side. So there's a good bit going on through this stretch from a utility standpoint. I'm estimating an approximate 9-month effect to the schedule, which is built in to that, subject to the capacity of these companies to design and relocate their facilities, because, you know, I won't be the only engineer they're hearing from, I'm sure. Jumping to right-of-way, by my count, 60 parcels, give or take, touch Stribling Road between DeWeese and 463. Now, many of those are in the form of green space or common area strips, which probably are set aside for road widening. Some look wider than others, and it is my hope that in those cases they can accommodate the additional real estate we need. But there probably will be cases where we may have to go beyond that. So 60 parcels will be the best case scenario. If I had to guess, it probably will be a few more than that. So we'll look at every option to minimize the effect. The less parcels we're impacting, the better on the cost and the better for the schedule. Like whether it be narrowing the section or moving the road to one side or the other, although there are a good stretch of my project has neighborhoods on both sides. Curb and gutter is probably worth a look. A couple of other remediations I'd like to address in the project. One is the 200 feet long, give or take, area of instability in front of Silverleaf. Anyone that drives Stribling knows where I'm talking about. You pretty much have to slow down to about 20 miles an hour. We'll investigate what's going on there, why that subgrade is failing. And also what I estimate to be a sight distance issue for left turns coming from McMillan on Stribling eastbound. If my suspicions are correct and it being a sight distance issue, I'd like to make that maneuver safer. In closing, we'll be prepared to brief the board on a quarterly basis regarding progress, compares with the schedule that we have, forecasting the next quarter as well. And I'd like to reiterate again that we're thankful, excited to get started, and ready to assist the county, whatever you need. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, comments?
Very informative. Glad to have you on board. Looking forward to working with you.
Sure.
Thank you very much for this
Very
info.
glad to have y'all doing this section.
Thank you.
All right, moving on down Stribling. Our next engineer is going to be Michael Baker. They are working on Stribling Road from DeWeese down to Catlett Road at Red Fox.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, members of the board. Ray Ballantyne with Michael Baker. We're very pleased to be here to present to you today. Michael Baker, as some of you know from meetings that we've had, we've been in Mississippi almost 80 years. Next year will be our anniversary, and we choose to live and work here in Madison County. We're located down in Ridgeland on New Point Drive. We're very honored for the opportunity to serve you and the citizens of Madison County. We are definitely committed to the importance of this project. The list of projects that you're undertaking is very significant and very important for the county, and we commend you for that, and we're excited to be a part of that with this project that we've been assigned. Jay Stewart is with me, and I'm going to let him talk specifically about the project. Jay is our senior roadway design engineer. He'll be the project manager, and he'll be the day-to-day point of contact for Tim, and will be participating in those quarterly reviews that we bring to you. Jay.
I appreciate the time. Like Ray said, my name is Jay Stewart. I'll be the project manager and the day-to-day contact with Tim on this project. And like you heard from Garver before, we're going from DeWeese to Bozeman, in which several key things will be on for the schedule that y'all so worried about, and rightfully so, is utilities and the right-of-way acquisition. And with, like he mentioned, we have the large power line, of course, services up and down, and the way that we're going to try to minimize the impact of that is our surveyors will be in contact with all the utilities to locate it, to get, so we know what's out there and where it's at. And just working together, hopefully we can get that moved forward as quickly as possible, because like he mentioned, we're not the only ones that are going to be reaching out to them. And with energy, with those poles, that's going to be a time-consuming effort. And also on right-of-way, I believe I counted 60 plus or minus properties, with the majority of those being Ashbrook, which it will be tight, and we will be investigating as far as whether there's green space available or whether it's just
say 50-foot left and right on the right-of-way. And of course, we will be trying to minimize all impacts, and we are looking at one possible relocation there at the intersection of Bozeman and Catlett, Catlett and Stribling. So those are going to be the critical issues, and we'll be pushing forward through. And if y'all have any questions.
Jay, so you will be the contact
Yes, sir.
for Tim and for the county?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank y'all.
being
And
part
we
of it.
appreciate the opportunity.
Looking forward to working with you.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, can you get one of these from all the companies, the schedules of construction?
I have one, and I'll get it to you.
Yeah, that'd be
And
nice.
we're gonna, I'll have one with the actual months on it once we get that finalized as to when they're actually gonna start, as far as, an actual date compared to just a month. Next project we have is Calhoun Station, from 22 down to Stout Road. That project is being handled by Stantec.
Morning, members of the board. Thank y'all for allowing us to be here today and giving us the opportunity to work on Calhoun Station Parkway project. My name is Brad Ingles. I will serve as the project engineer for Stantec that will be coordinating with the board and Tim throughout the life of the project. Also have with me today Brad Fletcher and Chet Reinecke that will be assisting us as well. This project consists of the reconstruction of approximately 2 miles of Calhoun Station Parkway from Stout Road to Highway 22. We don't foresee any right-of-way or utility issues for this project. We anticipate the design phase to take approximately 5 to 6 months, with the project going to construction next year. As with the previous 16 projects that we have completed for Madison County, from conceptual design through construction, this will be a top priority for us. All the work will be performed locally, and we intend to have a draft contract to Tim to review as soon as he comes back from vacation.
Yeah. Tim's
that's-
going on vacation?
That's what I heard.
Thank you for that info,
But,
Brad.
if y'all have any questions, he said,
Is Calhoun State gonna be 2-lane, 4-lane?
it's two. It's reconstructing it back as it was before.
Back what it was?
Yes, sir.
It's gonna go back to being 2-lane. Drive, yeah, a usable 2-lane. Usable 2-lane.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But it's my understanding, there's enough right of way that if we needed to, as the traffic increases on it, we would be able to, immediately be able to expand it to a 4-lane.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Got a good plan in there.
Yeah. I see that being the next hot developing area out there on the Calhoun Station. It'll be 4 lanes quickly.
Brad, we appreciate y'all being part of the team as well, and you're right, it is a priority
Yes,
as
sir.
well to this board.
We'll be here whenever you need us. So
Thank you.
glad to come before you. Thank y'all.
All right. Okay.
Now we're kind of moving over to the eastern part of the county, if you will.
Yeah.
Next project we have is Weisenberger Road from Parkway East over to Highway 51. This project was awarded to Neil Schaefer.
Good morning again. I'm Keith O'Keefe with Neil Schaefer. I've got with me Stan Wright. I'll be the principal in charge for Neil Schaefer. Stan's going to be our project manager and our point of contact. But let me say, thank you very much for the opportunity to work on this project on Weisenberger Road for Madison County. I know how important it is to the county as well as to the city of Gluckstadt. It's a central artery for a lot of traffic.
Right.
Yes, a lot of traffic. It's also important to me because my son and daughter-in-law drive through that every day. They live off of Clarkdale Road. I drive through it several times a week myself. So, yes, it's extremely important to all of us. It has a lot of traffic on it, so it needs relief, no question about that. We understand that there's some federal funding on the project, $2.7 million in federal funds. It will be administered by MDOT through the LPA process, of which we are very familiar. As Tim stated, the project limits are from Parkway East to generally Highway 51, just east of 51. You know, I think there are several items that are on the critical path that are going to impact the schedule and things that we need to focus on. And one is the environmental. There will probably be some wetlands present that we will impact, possibly an environmental assessment involved. Utilities are certainly present there, a lot of utilities. 3 gas lines, a carbon dioxide line, of course, power, communications, and that type of thing. Then you got the railroad, you know, so we'll have to coordinate with the railroad. And then you've got, you know, property acquisition. So those are going to be your 4 key elements, and we'll focus initially on the environmental and utility coordination and the railroad coordination on the front end. And I'll let Stan get into a few more items related to the project.
Yeah, I won't take much of your time, just a few details. Keith mentioned the environmental process. We've already reached out to MDOT. We need to have a scoping meeting with them to determine what level, whether we can do it as a category exclusion, which would help expedite, or if it's going to have to be an environmental assessment, which could possibly mean we're going to have a public hearing. So we'll, like I said, we've already requested that meeting, so hopefully we'll have that soon and have that before we go to contract, because that needs to be in our scope and our contract. I think the biggest concern is probably going to be the utilities and the intersection of Yandell and Weisenberger and Highway 51. Like he said, we got a high-pressure gas line that goes south that has historically caused a lot of problems along Highway 51, as we all know. So we've already contacted them. Enmark is another one. That's the CO2 line. We've contacted them just to let them know that something's coming. We actually, and then the railroad is another concern, because they typically take a while, and we contacted them as well, just to let them know that we're coming. And hopefully we can make some hay with them during the environmental process. From a right-of-way standpoint, we know that on the south, you know, we figure most of this is going to happen on the south side. We know that there's 11 parcels on the south side. There could be some incidental. There are about 16 parcels on the north side. We hope to minimize that. I'm hoping anything on the east side of the railroad we don't really have to touch. On the west side, when we get closer to the intersection of Parkway East, we may have impacts there. So, but we'll know that more. And then, of course, you know, there's 4 parcels on the west side of 51 that will impact. And then, of course, there's a big substation with energy that we'll make sure we stay away from, clear of. But, you know, anyway, that's where we are. We will make this a priority. I run our Madison office, and that's where the work's going to be done, and I'll make sure that's why we're there, is to work for you guys. And we'll make sure it's a priority, and we'll get this done as fast as possible.
Stan, I know that the county is taking the lead on this, you know, as far as
Yes, sir.
Weisenberger, but also the city of Gluckstadt is
Yes, sir.
also a sponsor with us, or in with us on this as well. So let's make sure we keep them in communication as well with the mayor and the alderman there.
Absolutely, for sure.
Are y'all, switching gears back to Bozeman 1, are y'all going to have a source of contact for traffic concerns?
Yes, we will, you know, we will, and we'll share that with the county. We're working with Tim already on that, having a game plan, I guess to say. We're going to have several, you know, just an organized process for the public to communicate, because I'm sure, you know, you two gentlemen, especially with, because it's in your district, will get a lot of phone calls.
What was the final verdict on the fence for the neighborhood? They were requesting.
As far as I know, I wasn't involved in that, but it's not a part of the plan, so I'm assuming that they'll.
All right, thank you, Stan.
Excuse me, Trey, to your point, I will call you and Casey later today. We need to have a communications meeting for the Bozeman Road Phase 1 project, and lay out our plan for communication. So I'll get in touch with you all later today.
How many cars a day you think are on that segment of road?
Well, 8 years ago, there was 17,000 a day, so there's more than that now.
Right.
And how long do you think construction's going to take?
2.5 years, yeah.
So we're probably.
And then when you consider Phase 2 of Bozeman Road, Bozeman's going to be under construction for several years.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know y'all have already been working on the communication plans as well, and had some meetings already.
We have.
So
We've met
y'all-
with the contractor. We've
Y'all have a good
collaborated
plan.
with the contractor. We have a good plan in place. We've collaborated with MDOT on it as well. So we want to sit down and work through that with you all so that you're up
Right.
to date on it as well.
Right. All right, thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
right. The next two segments of Yandell Road, that being from 51 to Smith Car and then from Smith Car to just west of North Old Canton, are being handled by Wagner. So I'll let them come up and speak on those two segments.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening. Or
My
good
name is-
morning.
Good morning, that's right.
Good time.
I'm getting ahead. Excuse me. My name is Darian Warren, and I'm here representing Wagner Engineering. I serve as area manager for Central Mississippi. And for these particular projects, I will serve as the assistant project manager. So I will be serving as the primary contact between Wagner Engineering and Tim Bryan in Madison County and the Board of Supervisors. We are extremely excited about this opportunity, an opportunity to continue to serve Madison County and its citizens. Extremely excited. Our team and who I have here with me today, I have Paul Foley, who is our Director of Transportation and Field Support Services. And so Paul will serve as our project manager for this particular project. So he will be the lead engineer in coordinating all of our technical tasks across all of our engineering disciplines that make up the scope of work for this particular project. So Paul has extensive experience in transportation engineering as well as expertise in roadway and utility design. And so I also have Mr. John Ronzaville, who is here with us also, and John is our Chief Strategy and Growth Officer. So I'll be coordinating with John to make sure that we are meeting the expectations of Madison County throughout the duration of these particular projects. And so just for information, our project team for these projects will consist of AJA Management and Technical Services, Burns Cooley Dennis, Headwaters, and Vectura Consulting Services. So this will be our entire team that make up our engineering team for these particular projects. And so we want to stand before you today to just reassure you all that Madison County continues to be a priority for Wagner Engineering. We've had the opportunity to support the county in a lot of your strategic initiatives, not only on the design side related to projects, but also supporting you all in securing federal funding. And so we know and realize that it's necessary to continue to focus on strategic infrastructure investments to modernize and expand the capacity for transportation throughout the county. And so as a part of our commitment, we've already been speaking with Tim Bryan, and so we know that there's an expectation for quarterly updates once we start this project. And so we'll be making sure that we coordinate with Tim to make sure we provide detailed updates on those quarterly reports, not only for information or progress made in that particular quarter, but also projecting our progress for the upcoming quarter. So we'll continue to work closely with Tim as it relates to those updates. And so Paul at this time is going to talk about just our approach as it relates to design and as it relates to utility coordination for these projects.
Thank you, Darian. I appreciate for the opportunity to speak with you today and having me. As Tim had mentioned, we've been awarded two projects. One specifically between Highway 51 and Smith Car Road, and then an adjoining project area from Smith Car Road to North Old Canton Road. There's approximately 51 parcels on the Highway 51 to Smith Car Road segment that incorporates 5 subdivisions. Bear Creek Water Station, pump station, is a possible area of concern if right-of-way acquisition is required. We have right-of-way from Highway 51 to Clarksdale Road, which is approximately 40 foot in width. The proposed typical section could be anticipated to be approximately 100 to 105 feet, which would require approximately 65 additional feet in width for right-of-way. Over the course of those 51 parcels, you're approximately looking at approximately 9 acres of acquisition, real estate purchase. Moving forward to the Smith Car Road to North Old Canton Road, that consists of approximately 42 parcels that I counted, plus or minus. It also includes 4 subdivisions. And Smith Car Road to Johnson, and this is a variable width right-of-way through this corridor. Smith Car Road to Johnson Lane is approximately 40 foot. And then from Johnson Lane to the end of the project, or just short of North Old Canton Road, varies in width. There's an 80-foot right-of-way, existing right-of-way, and then a small segment of 100-foot right-of-way that currently exists. As you've been hearing, utility relocation and property acquisition is going to be an area of concern that could potentially affect the schedule, so it's definitely on our radar. It's got our attention. Within our corridor are 2 project areas. There's approximately 9 utility providers in that area. Bear Creek Entergy, Atmos Energy, CenterPoint Entergy, transmission lines, AT&T, fiber, phone, etc. The segment from Highway 51 to Smith Car Road consists of approximately 1.6 miles. And that's where the Bear Creek lift station is located within that corridor on the south side of Yandell. And then from Smith Car to North Earl Canton Road is approximately 1.3 miles in length. And it includes 3 hydraulic crossings, actually 4 hydraulic crossings, 3 are bridges, and 1 is a quadruple barrel culvert cross-drain system. That's it. We're also anticipating curb and gutter, so we're going from a 2-lane, 2-way open roadside ditch to a 5-lane boulevard section with closed conduit, a closed system for drainage. So we're looking to improve drainage in this area as well.
There's a lot going on on that road.
Yes, sir.
You
Looking
know,
forward to it.
And appreciate the update. Tim, is now a good time to talk about the signal light at Clarkdale and Yandell? Clarkdale and, Yandell.
Yeah, Neil.
Now's a good time, since they've given their update, on that part, is a good time to,
Well, the signal at Clarkdale and Yandell is going to be part of the project to 3-lane Yandell Road. It's going to be done prior to the 5-laning of it.
right.
It is going to be, when they put the signal in, the signal is going to be installed in a manner so that when it is 5-laned, it won't have to be moved. It's going to be, the limits of the signal will be able to accommodate the 5-laning. So we're not going to have to do it twice. We're working on that now to make sure that it will accommodate a 5-lane section. That project will hopefully be done, we'll hopefully start within a year, hopefully be done within 9 to 10 months after that. So we hope within 2
In a
years
year and a
that-
half to
yeah,
2 years, it
right.
should,
We'll
the
have a
signal
signal
light
there.
should be there.
Right,
And the turn lanes as well.
right.
That was
We'll
my
have-
next question. Where are we at, have we started on turn lane, on coming off of Clarkdale onto Yandell?
We're looking at that as far as the, I don't think we had them in there originally, but we are looking back at the signal now to see if we can incorporate those into that project. It would be county funds anyway and non-participating because we've used all the federal money. So
Right.
like you said, why not go ahead and do it now?
That's right.
Get it in there now since it's county money.
And the extra lane that is being done now, I think, by Neil Schaefer, that's part of the same project, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we're looking at it to be finished within year and a half,
In year and a half to 2 years,
approximately.
somewhere in there.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Darian. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
I have a question for
Yes, sir.
our engineers, Wagner. This is 2 projects. Are y'all going to be working on these simultaneously, or you have 2 individual teams working on these so that they come to completion at the same time as one smaller project would be?
So
Or
it's-
are y'all treating this as just one big project?
Thinking of it as one big project, to expedite the schedule, we'll have our survey crew do the topographic survey along that entire corridor, both projects. But as far as staffing is concerned, our resources, our experience, we have a deep pool. We just expanded our transportation department. We have 30 transportation professionals at Wagner. So we're looking very much forward, and that's assuming that both contracts are executed at the same time, that we're planning on hitting the ground running with both projects simultaneously and do not see any issues with that.
Good, good.
And
Any
when
other
y'all
questions?
moving forward, are you all gonna be looking at any way possible taking that curve out or reducing that curve right before you get to North Old Canton Road?
We looked at some sight lines for that, potential, so horizontal site offsets may be an issue. We'll take a closer look at that when we start getting into the design, utilizing our programs and our tools that we have at our disposal. But that is a point that we're looking at. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? If not, thank you, Darren. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next project we have is the intersection of North Old Canton and Yandell. That project was awarded to Benchmark Engineering.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, Board.
Morning.
I want to start out with just telling you thank you for this opportunity. My name is Matthew Miller with Benchmark Engineering. I have with me Lon Burt. Lon will be serving as the day-to-day contact for Tim, but I will be heavily involved in those communications as well, and will be joining him at these meetings to give you all quarterly updates and projecting where we're going from there. But once again, I do want to tell you thank you for this opportunity. I believe this is the first project Benchmark's had the chance to do with Madison County, and we really look forward to it. It's going to be a top priority for us, as I know it is for you. We do have the intersection of Yandell and Old Canton Road, and of course, we've got projects on each side of us, and we realize there's going to be some good coordination that has to go on there with both entities working on those projects, and at the same time, we got to get ours done. Can't have them getting there before us, so we're well prepared for that, and I've talked through that with Tim already a little bit. We'll be signalizing the intersection at Yandell and Old Canton. The plan is to install those signals so that they're prepared for the widening of the coming roads from the east and the west. We've also got a bridge there on the west side of that intersection that we'll have to contend with and design and widen it. So been taking a look at it, and as everybody's been saying, I think you're going to continue to hear it the rest of the morning, utilities and right-of-way. Utilities and right-of-way, that's what, takes time. So just like all the other projects, we've got utilities on ours. We've only got 4 parcels there. Get lucky, we may not have to acquire property from all 4 of them, but we will be acquiring from 2 or 3 of them for sure. Utilities, power, communications, gas, all the things that we typically have to deal with on these projects. I would like to point out that this project is federally funded, so it will be going through the MPO. We'll be following the MPO, the LPA process that our firm's very versed with. We've done multitude of these, got multitude of them going on around town right now. So we'll be following that process and working through Central Mississippi and that LPA process to get this project completed in a timely fashion. Currently, that schedule, that the MPO sets a schedule on these projects, and the current schedule for this project is 30 months out for construction to begin. We'll plan on hitting that for sure. And if we do that, we'll be, I feel certain, based on the schedule, the ones beside us will be ahead of them, get our intersection done. That way, when they get ready to build theirs, they can connect right in there to us. So we really look forward to this, look forward to the opportunity. And if y'all have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Who's the contact person?
Mr. Burt will be. Yes, sir.
Great, all right.
All right, questions? Thank you for being part of the team.
Hey, thank y'all.
Look
Thank you,
forward to
board.
working with you.
Yeah.
All right, our final 2 projects we have are Yandell Road from North Old Canton to Bainbridge, and then Bainbridge to Highway 43. These 2 projects are being done by Pickering.
Mr. Carl Ray himself.
All right.
Good morning, Board.
Morning.
I want to tell you how pleased I am to you and Tim for selecting our firm to do these 2 projects, which are going to be, I think, federally funded and funded through the bond issue, I think. So I also am proud to help the Madison Board in helping secure these type of federal funds in Washington. I guess I may be the oldest person in the room, but I have been doing that for about 60 years up there, and we've been very successful over the years in obtaining federal transportation money for our clients. I have with me today Rick Ferguson. Rick was formerly the MDOT bridge engineer, and he came to work with Pickering a few years ago, and he designed the bridge that's going over the interstate as we speak. And Rick will be the project manager. He is our senior transportation engineer for Pickering, Mississippi. And I'm going to turn it over to him and let him tell you how he's going to design and keep up with Tim on this job.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you. Thanks once again, like Carl Ray said, for selecting our firm for the project. As he said, we have 2 projects, and we will approach these projects as one big project, and depending on the funding that becomes available, we'll be able to peel off each of them or a portion of each of them. But it's North Old Canton Road to Bainbridge and then Bainbridge to 43. The project is just basic roadway design, drainage, right-of-way acquisition. You've heard a common theme of all these presentations, right-of-way and utility coordination. I had it in my notes that to suggest for our project to have monthly utility coordination. After hearing all these presentations, I would suggest that we need to have monthly utility coordinations for all the projects and get all the consultants together, because all the utility companies are going to be all bombarded at the same time by 7 different firms. So I think that would behoove the county to have monthly utility coordination meetings for these projects. Keeping them focused is going to be a key. One of the things, you reach out to a utility company and the first thing they're asked is, when are you going to go to construction?
Right.
And you've got to keep them focused and get a design from them and get their design reviewed and make sure that they're relocating their utilities and putting it in a place where it's not going to further conflict or interfere with construction. Timeline to getting the project construction, our approach is this: once we get a notice to proceed this fall, get the survey done by the end of the year. Plan on using drone survey to fly both routes. Preliminary engineering will be done once the survey is complete and it should be done by the next spring. At that point, the project in itself will split into multiple phases. We will, at that time, get our right-of-way consultant, Mark Dye, on board. What I call the west side of the project, west side of Yandell, the western portion has got 20 parcels. The other one has got 40 parcels. We do not anticipate any relocations. Similar width right-of-way as you've heard, we're going from a 2-lane to a 5-lane. So you're looking at somewhere around I'd say 100 to 120 feet, depending on terrain, as far as what you're going to need. According to the Madison County tax maps, the Yandell Road, namely the eastern portion, is about 80 feet. So as I said, we're not anticipating any relocations, so what you're looking at is buying strips of land on one side or both sides. There's really nothing out there that we anticipate other than your normal roadway design, your normal project development issues, other than once we get to the end of 43, we will definitely need to be on the opposite side of the road of the trace, because you do not want to approach the trace and ask to buy their property, because you're not going to like what they say. To get everything going, the right-of-way acquisition and utility coordination, Mark says the right-of-way, we could have all offers made within a year once we start the process. We anticipate being able to go to construction 24 to 30 months out. So that's my presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
That's a good update. I know Mr. Furr there mentioned federal funding, and appreciate you've been helping Madison County for many years to get federal funding. And this project will take federal funding. Mm-hmm. That's the road we're headed down. So we look forward to working with you to continue to get funds, for this project. Rick, that was a good update.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good update. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think we have one more now.
Go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead.
No, since it's Yandell Road, I just want
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yandell Road. As right now, we're looking, Yandell Road from 51 all the way to 43. The county is looking to put in, probably be guessing $100 million to develop that whole road or more. It's just, I just want to let the people that live down in that area, that growth and caught up with us. We've been on Yandell Road kind of looking at all the other area growth and have those growing pains. Now, Yandell Road section fit to have those same growing pain. But after the pain, it's a whole lot better. A whole lot better. So probably in the next 2 years, you're gonna see orange cones all the way up and down Yandell Road. Just bear with us, and we're gonna do our best to make it better. Thank you. Go ahead.
We can also use that line for the west side of the interstate as well.
Yeah.
So,
It's not gonna be too much longer, and you're gonna see barrels everywhere.
that's right.
We've got one more.
Pain and pleasure, that's what it is, pain and pleasure.
That's right. We've got one more group that I'm asked to come up, AJA Management. I've asked them to come up and discuss West County Line Road. They're gonna be going to Washington DC here in the next little while, and I'd like Andrew Jenkins to come up and discuss that for the board.
Good morning, Board.
Morning.
I'm Andrew Jenkins, President of AJ Management. It's the first time I've had opportunity to address the Board, even though we've done a lot of work in Madison County over the years, so it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, good to have you.
For West County Line Road, as you know, it's a major artery connecting I-55 and US 49, and it provides access to a lot of the new development, such as AWS, the UPS Distribution Center, Southern Beverage, and what have you. Also provides access to businesses in Jackson, the FBI, and Energy Nuclear, and what have you. That road is actually very, very dangerous. The traffic, it was built as a basic serving residential, and now it's expanded to serving commercial and industrial traffic, and it needs upgrading. We anticipate that AWS development will bring maybe 1,000 additional vehicles, along with what's happening with the UPS and the Southern Beverage. So the capacity is inadequate. Several months ago, a couple of months ago, the Secretary of Transportation was in town, and Congressman Thompson asked us to make a presentation to him to see if we could get some federal funding to improve County Line Road. In the meantime, as part of that process, the county has taken the initiative to get County Line Road added to the Metropolitan Planning Organization's TIP and to MDOT's TIP, pending receipt of federal funds. So they've taken initial steps. In addition to that, Attorney Espy has worked with the associated jurisdictions of the City of Jackson, Hinds County, City of Richland, on a memorandum of understanding to jointly pursue funding for this project. We've been asked to assist in coordinating possible funding through the federal sector by engaging the Department of Transportation in our congressional delegation to see if funding, which best recommended route to get funding, such as the RAISE grant, MEGA grant, congressional directed funding, or what have you. We anticipate the project currently, it's about a $150 million project. We plan to approach it in stages. The first phase being from Tougaloo College up to Watkins Drive, which provide access to the AWS site, along with where Highland Colony ties into County Line Road, and provide access to UPS and Southern Beverage. The next step would be engaging DOT. The Congressman has asked us to pursue those. The initial step is to engage US DOT to see what they recommend as the best avenue to get federal funding. The initial funding needed is required to go through the NEPA process, the environmental assessments and the right-of-way acquisition of those things. We estimate that amount to be in the neighborhood of $5 million. So I think that what we're asking the board is to authorize us to proceed with meeting with the congressional delegation and US DOT to start the process.
Okay. Andrew, thank you for the update, and you're right. There have been several meetings, from my understanding, on this project and on this West County Line Road project, which is very important as well to move traffic and then for safety purposes as well. And from my understanding, Congressman Thompson asked you to come and meet with him and the Secretary of Transportation.
Correct.
If I'm understanding correctly.
Correct.
And what you need from this board is to be able to go and represent the board on that behalf.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Well, I'd like to make that motion that Mr. Jenkins be allowed to represent Madison County on their behalf, and we should, I guess, we have to take care of those expenses that's necessary for him to be able to do that job for us. So that's my motion.
Okay. Motion made, Supervisor Banks. I'll second it with the understanding that we are definitely looking for federal funds, because this project, as you indicated, is about $150 million estimate. And that does not include the estimate of the 250 or 300 million that projects that we just heard from. So federal funds is very important in this matter as well. Other comments, other statements? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you for the